This spot and this charming thatched cottage, or at least an earlier version of it, were once the home of the oldest Englishman that ever lived. He was born in 1483 and reached the ripe old age of 152, as the story goes. But the waters of which county were the secret elixir of his life? Find out in just a minute. In today's show, we'll be helping a couple make their momentous move to the country. And it looks like it's going to be quite a challenge.
No fireplace. I like fireplaces in a bedroom.
Always this fussy. Always.
But then we seem to hit the mark.
My spirits were sinking only as we came in the front door for them to rise again completely.
I'm in Shropshire, and this was the home of Thomas Parr, or Old Tom, as he was unsurprisingly known. And he had an eventful life, getting married for the very first time, aged 80, and outliving 10 British monarchs. In fact, it was a trip down to London to visit Charles I that finished Old Tom off. He succumbed to the filthy air of the capital and lies there still, buried in Westminster Abbey. But before he died, the king did get to ask him what the secret of his longevity was, and he said, moral temperance and diet, Your Majesty. Though I do think the sweet air of Shropshire had something to do with it too. Spanning over 1,300 square miles and flanking the Welsh border, Shropshire is the largest of Britain's landlocked counties. Its breathtaking scenery includes high points such as the Wrekin, from which Tolkien drew inspiration for his vision of Middle-earth in the Lord of the Rings books. Shropshire's agricultural heritage defines the landscape, including the Shropshire Hills, an area of outstanding natural beauty. In fact, 4/5 of the county is given over to farmland, which supplies the markets of local towns such as Ludlow. While Georgian townhouses and Elizabethan timber frame buildings are a running theme throughout its towns, the more rural areas serve up former farm properties and barn conversions, so house hunters are really spoilt for choice. You eager property hounds out there will know or remember that the north of Shropshire is better value than the south, and that's partly because the south is more rural and more beautiful and there aren't so many properties to go around. However, across the country as a whole in the UK, Shropshire is still a good deal. A detached house here costs £9,000 less than the national average, which means if you're coming from an expensive county like Dorset or Hampshire, then you can get a lot for your money, even in the south where prices are high. So let's take a look at what you can buy. Priced at £1.25 million and set in the midst of the glorious South Shropshire countryside is this 7-bedroom house in Caneham. Along with a raft of light, airy reception rooms, its kitchen still radiates that half of the home feel, with the spoils of 1.5 acres outside. This sprawling 6-bedroom farmhouse in Underton could be yours for £750,000, ditching rustic style in favour of sleek modern living spaces and a contemporary kitchen. And the outbuilding provides a perfect retreat from which to enjoy 1 acre of garden. On the market for £395,000, this 2-bedroom 19th century cottage in Bucknell offers up character charm with a modern twist in the sitting room and kitchen. And it's generously set in over 3/4 of an acre of garden. You see, there's enough beautiful property in Shropshire to float anybody's boat, which is appropriate for this week's couple. Bob and Joe have been soaking up a boating lifestyle in their 2-bedroom marina development home in Portsmouth. But now they want to cast off from the shores of the Solent and head northwards back towards Joe's roots. They want this change of tack to transform their lifestyle.
One of the reasons we want to move to the country is really to get back to, when I say back to basics, things like, as a lot of people do who want to move to the country, raise some chickens. Bob's very interested in, saving the planet by looking after bees. However, having said all that, it's really to get the peace and quiet and the community that we don't really have here. We have a great community for having fun and barbecues and boating, but we don't actually have the community of village life, if you like,
And I'm keen, as well as trying to get into beekeeping, to grow some vegetables and some fruit. And I'm not particularly focused on being self-sufficient, but just doing the things that country people do.
They're looking to put down roots some 10 to 15 miles from Ludlow, which could be a challenge given Bob's desire for land.
Ideally for me, we'd have 2 or 3 acres.
And what about the property?
We're looking for a 4-bedroom house, ideally, in an edge of village or in sight of village location, with 3 reception rooms. All the rooms to be of a reasonable size.
But also because we would like hobby room, either one each or between us. It would be ideal to find somewhere that did need a little bit of work, because then you're not inheriting everybody else's taste and style. We're able to put our own mark on it, if you like.
Yeah.
And there are other factors to consider.
Well, we hope in our new home to have a large kitchen, because I've really recently got into Thai cookery following a series of evening classes. If the house we find doesn't have the right kitchen for me, then I'm quite happy to put a new kitchen in, rather like I did on this one.
One of the favourite rooms in our present property is the lounge. Here I often read, and I'm writing my memoirs at the moment for my children. And in our new property, it would be lovely to have a large lounge with an open fire and perhaps some nice views, to help with some inspiration and to just help me to relax.
In an ideal world, we prefer a character property. If we saw a brand new house that had all the requirements as a number of rooms and all the rest of it in the right location, we'd compromise and say, we'll accept new.
Bearing in mind their home is already on the market for £400,000, how much do they have to spend on their country property?
Our budget for this new house will be £600,000.
Full steam ahead for Bob and Joe as they come from the south coast to the pastoral perfection that is Shropshire. And I'm not at all worried about the 4-bedroom character property, because I know Shropshire and I know the lovely housing stock here. But what slightly makes me anxious is Bob's insistence on 2 to 3 acres just outside Ludlow, which could put some pressure on their £600,000 budget. But I live in Property Hope. Bob and Joe are keen to settle in the Ludlow area, so we're basing our house search between there and Church Stretton, just to the north. I'll be showing them 3 fantastic properties which will hopefully hit the mark, but I won't be revealing the price of each until they've had a guess first. And our mystery house will force them to go beyond their limits. Welcome to Ludlow, Market Day.
Thank you very much.
This is where you want to live, and I can understand why.
You indeed.
How is the whole process going? Because your house is on the market.
We have just sold, subject to contract,
congratulations.
so we're very excited.
And in terms of your budget up here, that hasn't changed? Still 600?
No, we're still up to 600,000, yes.
You know, it's a good, healthy budget for Shropshire. It's quite a lot of money.
Hope so.
But obviously you're squeezing it a little bit by wanting to be close to Ludlow, as opposed to other parts. And also because you want land.
We do, yeah.
It's a lovely day. It's a lovely county. There's lovely properties out there. Should we go and see some?
Yes,
Wonderful.
please.
Thank you.
Armed with a £600,000 budget, Bob and Joe are looking for a detached character property, which ideally would give them 3 reception rooms, a kitchen diner, 4 bedrooms, at least a couple of acres for Bob to get stuck into growing his own produce, and located close to a village community within easy reach of their beloved Ludlow. Time to get to grips with the kind of land Bob's after. Very often people come into the country demanding 2 acres, and then when they see 2 acres, they're like, I'm never going to be able to look after that.
We hope most of the land that goes with a property will be perhaps paddock land or pasture land or even woodland.
Well, let's see if we can square that with the location they want. We're kicking off our property search in the village of Ashford-Carbonell, with the spoils of Ludlow just 4 miles away. Lining its country lanes are those characteristic black and white timbered buildings, including the village hall, and there's a community bowling green. Among the eye-catching properties is this one on the edge of the village. This is our first property.
Okay. Oh.
Oh.
Right.
This looks nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. It's to have some history to it, I think.
It's a barn conversion. Who knows how old the original barn was, but it was actually converted in the 1970s.
Okay.
Right.
And that's this part here. These were stable blocks.
That they
Right.
converted.
They
yes.
converted those more recently, actually, in the sort of 2006, 2007.
Oh, right. Okay.
So it's quite up to scratch.
Yeah. Looks
Excellent.
great up
Excellent.
to now.
Well, first impressions are very positive, and they'll find plenty of that character when they see inside. In you come.
Thank you.
This would have been where the tractors came through. Now is the entrance hall.
This is nice.
This is very nice, very welcoming. And I like the way that the staircase goes
Yeah.
up and round both
Splits,
sides.
yeah.
That's very
It's a
attractive.
very oldie, worldy kind of feel.
Character property it may be, but the rooms measure up to modern living. All right.
Oh, this is nice.
Nice.
This is a beautiful country kitchen.
And the range.
Beautiful.
And then this very nice kind of boot room, utility room outside with the freezer and lots more storage. The thing I was thinking is that it's actually all finished, though. You were kind of wanting a project.
Well, yes. I mean, I do get easily bored. So having a project is fairly important.
But there's always something.
Quite right, Joe. And I've got an idea for keeping Bob busy later on. Down a few steps here, so they've sunken the floor.
This is nice.
This is the sitting room.
I think that the only danger is it might be dark because of the small windows.
And also only windows on one side. This
Yeah.
is typical of a stable conversion.
That may change as the sun shines or the direction of the sun.
But I like the room. I do. I think, as Joe says, it's dark, but I like it.
Okay, so this is if you like the oldest part of the barn complex.
Right, yes.
What we've got next is a kind of a sort of suite of rooms that form the stables.
Okay.
Okay, after you.
The owners may have spared the horses, but not the quality of the finish in here. Another room.
Right. So two lounges in the house.
This is nice. Nice room too. Good size.
And again, it looks like the original beams in here. Too,
Lots
which is
of
nice.
character. I like it, yeah.
Again, a little bit dark, I think.
Well, maybe Jo will see the light she's looking for in the next room. This was a great addition to the property. I mean, they converted it from the stables only about 3 or 4 years ago, and you can kind of tell it's much
Yes.
lighter.
Very
much
Yes,
much
brighter.
lighter.
yes, it is. I'm not sure what you'd use this bit for, but I'm sure
No,
we'd
this would
find
be
some...
a good hobbies room.
Yes, it would because of the light.
Yeah, very
yeah,
good.
that's true.
Next door would make a great reading room for Jo, where she can curl up in front of the wood burner. And guests could be happily tucked away at the end of the stable wing in this double room, one of 6 in total, and served by its own self-contained shower room. The downstairs of our barn conversion certainly gives the character feel thereafter and an array of adaptable living spaces. Going up, one side of the staircase leads to a cute double with exposed beams, but next door is where Bob could put his project hat on. This is the master.
Gosh, this is big, isn't it?
Oh wow, yes.
Just the perfect size for a bedroom. No fireplace. I like fireplaces in a bedroom,
Always this fussy.
Always.
but it really is nice.
It's a barn. What would a fireplace in the top of a barn do? Catch it on fire.
This is very nice. Plenty of space.
Yes, it is.
The only thing that I was thinking is because you've got there's a little box room and then the shower room here. There might be a way. I mean, I would probably think of turning that box room into an ensuite.
Yes,
That would be
that
good.
would work well.
Because actually the bathtub
Yes,
is at the
yes.
other end of the house. There's only a shower here.
Yeah.
So you could break through here and go in.
Possibly
Yeah.
actually on the other side.
Yes, yes. Yeah, you could.
But
A project.
that's your
Yes.
project.
Yes,
there
sorted.
you go, you see.
The other staircase leads up to 2 very generous doubles, again with those exposed beams and the family bathroom. There's no doubt that inside this property delivers on space with lots of scope for them to make their own mark. But I guess the real test lies on the amount of land outside for Bob. Got a wonderful walnut tree here, little mini orchard, 4 apple trees and a plum tree, and some raised beds there and a sort of fenced off little vegetables. And they used to keep chickens here, but they cleared them out for sale. But that's the end of your property.
Okay, so
Okay.
that belongs to the farmer.
That
Yeah.
belongs to the farmer, and he's not interested in selling at the moment.
Right, okay. It is smaller than we were hoping for,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yes.
We'd rather have probably less bedrooms and bigger outdoor area, to be honest.
But it ticks
Ticks lots of boxes.
lots of boxes.
So what do you think it's worth?
595.
I would like to be a little more optimistic, and I'm going to suggest 550.
Right. If you split the difference, it's on at 585, so you're
Okay.
much
Oh,
closer.
okay.
So that's something to consider
Yes.
as you walk around. Think about the money, the land, the rooms, and what can give.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
Under budget at £585,000, our character barn conversion gives them spacious reception rooms, a lovely large kitchen diner, 6 potential bedrooms, and nearly half an acre of garden with established fruit trees and vegetable beds. Granted, it may not have the couple of acres they were looking for, but it's in their perfect location on the edge of a village just 4 miles from Ludlow.
I like the location of the house very much. The house is very attractive, lots of character, and there's a lot to like about this house. Well, this is a nice room.
It's just
It's
to die for,
probably
this kitchen.
the best room in the house. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. It's got everything you could ever want in a kitchen.
You could
And it's
live in
big.
here.
Yeah, you could. It's
It really
absolutely
is.
great. I don't think the garden's big enough for what we want.
No.
I mean, they've got a nice little vegetable patch, and we know they used to keep chickens, so there's room for that. But there's limited opportunity that you can do with this land.
I'd rather have had less room inside and more room outside.
You see, Bob, this is a project. Someone spent a really happy summer doing this.
It's lovely, I must admit.
Well done, huh? Okay, so hold your thoughts,
Okay,
because the day continues, and we can kind of discuss everything at the end of the day.
great.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Thank you.
Despite Thomas Telford's Iron Bridge being the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution, Shropshire remains one of the most rural counties in the UK, with over 7,000 farms strewn through its countryside. Historically, these rural communities have been served by the commercial hubs of market towns, such as Ludlow and Much Wenlock. But a strong local identity also exists in smaller, less well-known places such as Wem, hidden away in the north of the county, where earlier in the week Bob and Joe were taken on a tour by its mayor, Mandy Meakin. It may only have 5,000 residents, but civic pride is alive and well despite having gone up in flames over the centuries. The Great Fire of Wem decimated the town in 1677 when a local maid, named Jane Churm, just 14 years old, fell asleep, leaving her candle burning. Then in 1995, the town hall went up in smoke, leaving only its Victorian facade and a haunting reminder of its distant past.
When the fire started on a Sunday afternoon, people of Wem came out to watch, and a local photographer brought his camera along, and he took a photograph of the whole of the front of the town hall burning. And on the photograph, you can plainly see a maid standing on the stairs,
Goodness.
looking through the flames.
Gosh.
And of course everybody said, oh, it's the ghost of Jane Churm.
The photo's authenticity has since sparked much debate, but despite experiencing such devastation, Wem has also sown the seeds of creation. The sweet pea, originally an Italian climber, was rarely seen in British gardens until the late Victorian era, when Wem resident Henry Eckford developed and crossbred varieties that brought about a floral revolution. Today, the town's annual Sweet Pea Show attracts thousands of visitors keen to check out the 80 exhibitors and their blossoms, including those of local resident Neil Cooper, who knows a thing or two about the town's sweet pea growing tradition.
These are the original varieties, the old-fashioned or floribunda as they're called as well, and they were the ones mainly developed by Henry Eckford, who came to live in Wem in 1888 and started up first of all as a seed man, and then started growing and developing the sweet peas. He also sold not only the seeds, but also he made perfume and talc. The new varieties are from the Spencers, which is the ones here, which are the much larger flowers that came originally from the old-fashioned varieties.
It's heartening that seemingly humble market towns like Wem still hold on to their unique history, even in the face of their more famous and more glamorous neighbours. Our second property takes us to the tiny village of Steventon, which has no amenities, but it's just a mile's walk from Ludlow, with its high streets strewn with independent shops. Ludlow Castle overlooks the River Teme, which actually meanders past the garden of our second property, which was built in the 1960s. Now, this is a completely different proposition.
I can see.
Yeah. You were talking about compromising house for land
Yeah.
Yes.
and views and space.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, what are your first thoughts?
From here, without seeing it any further, it's looking a bit like a bungalow.
It is a bungalow.
Is it a bungalow?
Mm-hmm.
Often for bungalows I read old people. Maybe not. But be interesting, don't judge a book by the cover.
Have no fear, Joe. I think you'll light up when you see what this generous bungalow has to offer inside. Come on in.
Thank you.
We'll go straight into the heart of the house, which is this wonderful room.
Oh gosh, this is amazing.
Wow.
It really is.
It is completely not what I expected.
mate.
I just can't believe it. It's so different.
What is it that jumps out at you?
Well, I mean, it's
The
so
size.
light and bright and airy, and I don't know, because of to be honest, the outside of the property is not that attractive, and so, you know, my spirits were sinking only as we came in the front door for them to rise again completely. So it's wonderful, and like the whole of Shropshire out of the window, wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Let's actually step out onto this rather fabulous balcony. Take in this amazing view.
Goodness me.
Gracious, that is fantastic view.
Beautiful. Gosh.
This is the River Teme. You own to the midstream. And
Really,
the sound
it's
is the sound of the
beautiful.
river.
Yes, that is the only sound, isn't it? The water.
And the ka-chink of a bottle of wine opening.
I like it. I like
Gin and
it.
tonic. Right, so should we look around more of the house?
Yes.
Please, thank
yes.
you.
We've taken their breath away with the awesome location and views, so hopefully the kitchen will measure up. Here we are in the kitchen.
Oh, good size.
Good size,
Yeah.
yes.
And a dining kitchen as well.
And nicely fitted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes, this is lovely.
Well, this is an incredible kitchen with the views. Are
The
amazing.
views, yeah. Washing the dishes and looking out at that.
I love this kitchen because
very
this is
nice.
west facing as well, so this is, you get the sun going down.
Yes.
And watch the sunset.
Yes. Yeah.
Of course, in a bungalow, or as we like to call it these days, monoplanal living, there
I
is
heard that one.
all the bedrooms on one level.
Yeah.
Are you cool with that?
Yeah, I'm not that concerned about having to go upstairs to bed.
It's
No.
very modern. All the young kids are doing it. It's
Is
not
it?
an old
Oh,
person
right.
thing at all, really. But
Well.
let's go and see your bedroom because it's pretty
Okay.
spectacular. They seem pretty smitten so far, so let's see if they agree with me. This is the master.
This is nice. Again, a good size.
Good sized room. I like the cupboards too.
Yeah.
Very nicely done.
And this has been done up by the previous,
Okay.
the owners of the moment,
Yes.
and they have spent quite a bit of money. They also did this for you, which I think you'll agree,
Oh, this is nice.
quite an asset.
Excellent bathroom, yes, for an ensuite. That's superb.
Look at that shower.
Big
Yeah.
walk-in shower.
And it's a full bathroom, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, with the
Oh
bath
yes.
and the-
You can't fault it. It's lovely.
Light and space is a running theme in the second double room with its own modern ensuite. And further down the hallway, a third huge double room currently serving as a second sitting room, but also benefiting from a tasteful ensuite. The TARDIS-like qualities of this bungalow continue on the lower ground floor, with an enormous utility room and a conservatory used as a study. This property gives Bob plenty of scope to dabble in a bit of DIY, but will the land outside sell it to him? Let's come down onto the bottom lawn. get a better idea of what you're possibly buying into. It's set in 2 acres of land.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
It may not be the land you were envisaging, but it is 2 acres of land. Runs along the Team, as I mentioned. You've got land rights until the middle of the river,
All right.
but sadly no fishing rights.
Right.
And then a great swathe of the woodland, right, pretty much back up to the road, is yours.
Yeah. Okay.
So a lot of it's quite steep.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
And in terms of price, what do you think it's on the market for?
Again, because I always like to think that I might be lucky, I'm going to say 530.
I would say 550.
It's on at 575.
Okay.
Ah, right. Yeah.
So why don't you have a wander around, particularly around the woodland,
Yes.
Yes.
and then we'll talk further when you've done that.
Okay,
Wonderful.
thank you.
Under budget at £575,000, this deceptively large bungalow with cracking views answers so many of the demands on their wish list, including an enormous lounge flowing through to the large kitchen diner, 3 double bedrooms, all with en-suites, and 2 acres of land. All wrapped up in a fabulous location, just a mile's riverside stroll from Ludlow.
I was absolutely amazed. It really was very special and almost took my breath away. Absolutely fabulous. It really was.
When we came into the house, the huge open spaces, beautiful kitchen, big bedrooms, it grew on me more and more, especially when the sun shines. And then you look out of the lounge window and the kitchen window, and the views are to die for.
It is fantastically quiet here. It's a very quiet spot, I think.
Very
Very
quiet,
quiet.
yes. Just the sound of the rippling water.
But I'm going to take you away to discuss everything.
Okay.
As the sun sets over the Shropshire countryside, it marks the end of the first day of our property search. With their £600,000 budget, Bob and Joe are poised to swap marina living on the Solent for the rural delights of Shropshire. So far it's been difficult to find property with the right kind of land close to Ludlow, but coming up the mystery house lures them further afield.
Oh, amazing.
Oh my gosh.
And Shropshire's dizzying heights send me into a spin.
Oh, Mr. Roger, I'm going to faint. Where are my salts?
I was thinking this morning on our second day of house hunting how strange it is that Bob and Joe are so fixated on Ludlow. I mean, it's not strange because obviously Ludlow is a beautiful place, but there are lots of other beautiful spots in this area. And if they want that land, and it seems that they really do, then they get a lot more from their money if they cross the border into Wales. So I'm taking you to the mystery house. What do you think we've got in store for you?
Well, I'm hoping that you haven't picked up too much on my likeness for a project and that the property will actually have a roof on it.
You think I'm going to take you to a big pile of bricks and say, build it?
I'm slightly concerned about that.
We wouldn't do that, Bob. But for our mystery house, we are taking them out of their comfort zone and over the Powys border, where your average detached property is around £50,000 less than in Shropshire. The hamlet of Old Church Stoke is a 35-minute drive from Ludlow, and Montgomery is just 15 minutes away, with handsome Georgian buildings surrounding its town square. Perched on high are the remains of its Norman castle, a perfect vantage point for taking in the panoramic views towards Offers Dyke. Set in glorious open countryside, our mystery property started life as a 19th century farmer's cottage, much extended and modernised within the last 20 years. So let's see if the Powys heir agrees with them.
Gosh, what a fabulous setting.
It is an amazing,
Absolutely
amazing
glorious,
setting.
glorious.
Beautiful place.
So can you see why we might have bought you
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah.
in terms of what you were
Definitely.
lacking in the last 2 properties?
Yes.
What were you
definitely.
lacking in the last 2
Land.
properties? Land. And this property, handsome as it is, has land.
Wonderful,
Excellent.
wonderful.
How
Good.
much land do you think it has?
Couple of acres, maybe.
A couple of acres?
Yeah.
It has a couple of acres. The house is sitting on 2 acres of land, and that field too.
Oh gosh.
Those 5 acres are also yours.
goodness.
Excellent.
Right up to the hedge at the back.
Right, excellent.
It's about 6.5 acres in
Okay.
total.
The first impressions outside are good. Very good.
Before we get inside, I just want to show you one more thing.
Thank you.
This was the thing that really sold this property to me.
Oh, amazing.
Oh my gosh.
That's not yours, by the way, but the
What
view is
a
yours.
fabulous view.
That's well hidden,
Isn't it?
Over there, yeah.
Gosh.
So this is called Todleth Hill. It's quite a famous hill around here. There's these very beautiful, kind of quite steep hills.
Yeah.
So you're really nestled in this valley, and I think that's what makes it kind of quite magical.
Yes, absolutely.
It's glorious.
And the spoils outside don't end there.
You know what? In for a penny, in for a pound. I might as well show you everything outside because we're here. This is your back garden.
God.
Ash forest that goes down to a little brook right at the bottom. Okay, enough distraction. Let's actually look at the house.
Okay.
In this way. Here's the kitchen.
Ooh, it's a big kitchen.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Never seen a kitchen as big.
fantastic.
It's a biggie, isn't it?
Range.
Yeah.
This is a brand new extension that they put on the side of quite an old cottage. So I want you to put your project hat on
Oh, dear.
when you look at the other cottages. No, it's not that the cottages are great,
Yeah.
but it's the proportions are different. There is no other room as big as
No,
this.
sure.
Yeah.
This is enormous.
There are smaller rooms and then a few smaller rooms still.
Next to the kitchen is a handy utility room, but we'll start exploring the other living areas.
Yeah, this is the lounge. Sitting room.
Yeah. Oh, and an open fire.
Lovely open fire. And this was actually what the mid-extension, so this was done sort of about 10 years ago.
Right.
And this was the outside wall of the original cottage.
Needs some.
A little bit of TLC.
Yeah. So this is what I mean about your project hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is where you need to put on your hard hat and think about what could be
But
changed.
the basics are there, and there's good. It's bright and. you know,
There's a lot of
good
natural light
space,
coming
yeah,
in.
and that's a good thing.
Oh, I like this room.
Yeah.
Right, now this is where you really have to put your project hat on, because this used to be the kitchen of the 2 Up 2 Down.
Right.
This was the hallway, and that was the front room. So it was
Right.
tiny.
Tiny, tiny cottage.
And dark too.
And dark. Well, you've got the little front porch there, and a tiny little office. You think that's tiny? Tiny little office there.
Gosh.
So this is where you really have to kind of scratch your head and think.
Yes, of
Because-
what you could do.
I mean, this snug is actually quite light and bright, but it's just small.
Yeah, this is very small, isn't it?
Well, this was the original sitting room.
Yeah, but you couldn't have this as your main lounge. It's too,
Too small, I think. Yeah.
Unless you
You
sort of
broke
knocked,
through into here.
Yeah, it's a question of whether you can
you opened all that
open
space
it
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely could.
Yes.
Keeping those project cogs whirring, we'll head upstairs to check out the 4 bedrooms.
The bedrooms upstairs are actually quite big after all those small rooms downstairs.
Yeah.
This is okay room.
Yeah.
The other bedrooms include 2 potential doubles, so plenty of space to accommodate visitors, and there's a bright family bathroom. But the next bedroom really shows off the potential of this property.
Ah, like the kitchen master.
Nice big bedroom.
Gosh. What a difference.
It's a house of contrast, isn't it?
It is. This
The
is-
beauty of it is with them doing a new kitchen and part of the other house not being touched and being old, you can see what you can do with it. I think that's the important thing with this
This is
house.
a great room.
Yeah.
And quite light.
You've got a nice dressing room there and a great ensuite. Have a little look. Nicely done.
Oh yes, this is nice. Good size for an ensuite.
Good bath set. Very nice. A real contrast to the rest of the house.
Yeah.
Well, half of it.
Yes, that
Not
might
be, let's not be too harsh. It is a balancing act. You know, that's the project. You wanted a project?
I did.
With half of the house already remodelled to an excellent standard, it gives Bob and Joe a taste of what our mystery property could deliver if they picked up the project baton. But of course, that depends on the price. So let's take a stroll through the 5-acre field and survey all that could be theirs.
Beautiful.
Well, fantastic views all around.
And you see also the wonderful hill behind you, so
Yes.
you're kind of really hugged by the landscape. Let's talk about how much you think.
I'm optimistically going to say £500,000.
And I would say 525.
Well, in this instance, you're right. It's just a shade under £500,000.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, you might be able to put an offer in as well, but, you know, it gives you £100,000 to play with.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Which, considering how much more you're getting...
Yes, yeah. And you would have a house you wanted rather than a house that somebody had done and you had to like.
I'm going to send you down this big hill and get you to have a good look around this one.
Thank you.
And then I'll meet you at the gate, one of the many gates.
Okay.
Great.
Super. Thank you.
Thanks.
You can roll down if you like. There you go. Mystery house. Does it again. Turns everything up on its head because this is nowhere near where they want it to be, but you get a lot more land. And a beautiful house. Sneaking in at just shy of £500,000, just under the cut-off for the 3% stamp duty, our mystery property delivers a fabulous kitchen diner, a raft of reception areas with the potential for projects aplenty, 4 bedrooms with a master ensuite, and some 6.5 acres of land.
Seeing the location and the land that the other 2 houses didn't give us. And I think probably most of all, the word I would say about this is potential. In the work that's already been done, you can see the potential.
Yeah, exactly.
And quite
bedrooms,
a bit of money's got to be spent, but you could make this not only quite a big house, but still quite an attractive house.
Yeah. We can do everything we want to do here. We can keep the chickens and the bees. We could convert the stables to a studio and buildings for Bob to keep tools and what have you. And the nice thing for me was the contrast between what's been done already and what needs to be done. And I'm quite excited about that because I feel that it's something we can put our stamp on.
You look like you're walking down your drive. Not that I'm putting any ideas in your head. Let's get away from here so we can regroup and then you can discuss which house you like the best.
Okay.
Super.
From medieval castles to festivals and farmers' markets, Shropshire has no shortage of visitor attractions. It's also home to the UK's very first theme park, 18th century style. The fantasy land that is Hawkstone Park was opened to the public in 1783 by Sir Richard Hill, whose family had owned the estate for generations. Inspired by the fashionable romantic garden movement, he designed leisure walks through the woodland and towering sandstone crags, with a surprise lurking around every corner. Today, it's a Grade 1 listed site, and Roger Whitehouse, the park manager, has offered to take me on a tour of this magical world. I love all these little paths that come off the paths.
That's part of the enchantment of the park. There's always somewhere else you can find to go and have a walk. And at the end of it, you never quite know what's there.
By the early 1800s, the park was pulling in 5,000 visitors a year who came to experience the drama that Hill created in this awe-inspiring landscape, including a precarious crossing at the Swiss Bridge.
So just mind those steps as you come down onto the Swiss Bridge itself.
Wow, this is great! Whew.
Could be your original white knuckle ride, this.
Yes, it is. I suppose this was like the 18th century equivalent of a roller coaster.
Yeah, you sort of stood up here and you thought, will I? Won't I? Should I?
It's nice because it's scary, but it's not so scary.
Well, it matched the ladies that wanted that little bit of
Imagine
excitement.
the older sort of like the ladies coming on the big crinolines going, oh, look, Mr. Roger, I'm going to faint. Where are my salts?
On the other side of the bridge, my dear.
There were numerous delights awaiting the visitor, including an array of fantastical follies, which in landscape terms were the ultimate fashion statement of the day. This magical 100-acre site had suffered decades of neglect, but was reopened in 1993 after a £4 million restoration. So visitors can once again enjoy its underground and overground pleasures. So this whole thing is built on a network of caves. Are they original or are they built?
Originally they were 5th century copper mines, Romanic Saxon copper mines, and they came in as a bottle mine through the top and then spread out. And in the 1700s they created it into the grotto and then into part of the leisure walk where they could meet people inside the caves.
Well, there is something very impressive about it. And do you get lots of people? Is it popular?
Yes, I mean, we get over 50,000 visitors a year that come just to get that experience of walking it as we've done today.
I had no idea this was here.
No, nobody does.
Now.
Best kept secret in Shropshire, this.
Joe and Bob's house hunt has been more of a journey than they bargained for, what with a hop across the Welsh border, and it leaves them with plenty to think about.
I knew it. I knew that fixation on Ludlow wouldn't last if I showed them some of the beautiful property they could get elsewhere. But was it beautiful enough? Let's find out. Oh, you poured me tea. Very nice. So we've been exploring Shropshire because you were quite fixated on Ludlow, so we have seen other areas. But let's go through the houses one by one, because then we can talk about the pluses and minuses. Can you cast your mind back to the first property?
The barn was very nice. A lot of rooms. I remember distinctly the kitchen was very special. The garden was the problem. There was just not enough land for what we planned to do.
And were you surprised at the price?
I thought it was maybe expensive because the lack of land, but you did get a lot of house for your money.
And I think the price reflected that it was in one of Shropshire's best villages.
Yeah,
yes.
most definitely. And also because it was quite close to Ludlow.
Exactly.
Yes.
Though not as close as the second house, which was a completely different kettle of fish.
The house itself inside was an eye-opener, really, which is not looking from outside. We didn't expect what we would find inside. And the view from the house across the river with Ludlow in the distance was really very, very special. Although it had 2 acres of land, because it was really, the house was built on almost a precipice, the land was really of no use for us at all.
No, because we wanted land that we could do things with, ideally, or keep animals. We couldn't see anywhere where you could really keep chickens there or do anything with it.
In the last property, we gave you lots of land, but in a different location.
It really was quite an exceptional location.
And the price as well, because you were saving £100,000.
We'd need that, though, wouldn't we?
I think the price was right because it reflected the amount of work that needed to be done.
In terms of things that you really loved, I mean, are there any of these properties that you would act on, that you would pursue?
We came away from the Mystery House feeling very positive about it. And I think the next stage for us now is to pursue that a little bit further. So what we'd like to do is to go back and look at the house again, get some idea of the cost of doing some work that we think would improve the house.
Well, you've got that money from your sale burning a hole in your pocket, so hope to see you here very soon. I'm excited that you're going to come up and buy something. I wish you all the best.
Another programme to come and see it finished.
That would be very nice. And I welcome you to becoming true Salopians.
Thank you very much.
I think somewhere in today's show there's a lesson about not being too narrow in your geographical search when you are house hunting. And I think Bob and Joe learnt that and opened themselves to the totality that is Shropshire and the Shropshire borders. And I hope likewise that you too can enjoy everything that's beautiful about rural Britain on the next edition of Escape to the Country.
And if you'd like to escape to the country in Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland or England and need our help, please apply online at bbc.co.uk/Be On A Show.